time in a small, quirky town called Luckington. There lived a grandma named Ethel, who was known far and wide for her bizarre beliefs in the power of luck. Ethel's son, Fred, had recently blessed her with a beautiful 7-month-old baby named Oliver. Little did anyone know, Ethel had a peculiar tradition she believed would bring immense luck to her family, and it all revolved around baby poop. One sunny morning, as Ethel sipped her tea and gazed at a collection of 4-leaf clovers she had gathered over the years, she had an epiphany. She was convinced that if she allowed baby Oliver to poop on her, it would bring unparalleled luck to their family for generations to come. Ethel reasoned that babies were the purest beings, and their waste must contain a magical element of luck. So, one day, as Fred dropped Oliver off for his weekly visit with Grandma Ethel, she couldn't contain her excitement. She greeted them with open arms and a sly grin. Fred was a bit bewildered, but trusted his mother's wisdom, despite her eccentricities. As the day progressed, Ethel meticulously planned the ceremony. She laid out a special extra absorbent diaper for Oliver, embroidered with symbols of luck, and placed it on her lap. She wore her luckiest and oldest pair of pajamas, passed down through generations. Ethel had even prepared a special rhyme to chant during the event, a rhyme she believed would amplify the luck tenfold. With Oliver giggling and cooing, oblivious to the strange ritual about to unfold, Ethel began her incantation. Poop, poop, my dear. Let the luck now appear. With each diaper filled, our fortune is sealed. Fred watched with a mix of disbelief and amusement as his mother continued. As if on cue, Oliver decided it was the perfect time to make a contribution to the family's luck. Ethel's eyes widened with delight as she felt warmth spreading through her lap. Oliver's little face crinkled with concentration as he filled the diaper with his gift of good luck. Ethel couldn't have been happier. She believed that this moment would bring her family a lifetime of fortune. Fred, being the good-natured soul that he was, decided to humor his mother's superstitions. He even took a picture of the moment to immortalize it for future generations, secretly hoping it would make for a hilarious story to tell at family gatherings. As the years passed, Grandma Ethel's tradition became legendary in Luckington. It was said that the Luckingtonians were the luckiest people on Earth, all thanks to a quirky grandma who believed in the power of baby poop. And so, the tale of Grandma Ethel and her unusual quest for luck was passed down through the generations, bringing laughter and joy to the town of Luckington for years to come. Whether or not it truly brought luck remained a mystery, but it certainly brought a lot of humor and love to the family. And sometimes, that's all you need. Here is another story. Once upon a rainy Tuesday afternoon in the quiet town of Maplewood, there lived a spirited grandmother named Beatrice. Beatrice was known for her flair for the dramatic, her love for wigs, and her frequent trips to the grocery store, which were always colorful events. On this particular day, Beatrice decided to venture out to the grocery store to stock up on supplies for her famous meatloaf. Along with her list of essentials, she had a craving for something sweet, so she added 2 taffy apples to her cart. As luck would have it, the weather was rather unforgiving. Dark clouds loomed overhead, and rain poured down relentlessly. Undeterred, Beatrice strutted into the grocery store, her vibrant wig perfectly coiffed, and made her way through the aisles, checking items off her list with gusto. With groceries in hand, Beatrice headed back to her car. The wind howled and the rain fell sideways, making it a treacherous journey through the parking lot. she approached her car, a gust of wind caught her off guard. She stumbled, her bags of groceries scattered, and in a comedic twist of fate, one of the taffy apples flew from her bag and ended up lodged in the tangle of her wig. Unaware of this sticky development, Beatrice got into her car, hoping to escape the rain and head home. Little did she know that her sweet craving would soon turn into a hair-raising experience. Upon arriving home, Beatrice carefully removed her wig, setting it down on her dressing table. It had been a long, wet day, and she was looking forward to relaxing. As she ran her fingers through her hair, she felt an unusual sticky sensation. Confused, she tried to disentangle whatever had found its way into her hair. To her amazement, she pulled out a taffy apple, half melted and oozing with sugary goo. Beatrice stared at the taffy apple in her hand, then glanced at her wig on the dressing table. Suddenly, the pieces of the puzzle fell into place, and she burst into laughter. She couldn't believe she'd been walking around all day with a taffy apple stuck in her wig. She imagined the bewildered looks from the grocery store staff, the other shoppers who had probably noticed but were too polite to say anything, and the kids who must have found it utterly hilarious. Beatrice chuckled as she realized that sometimes life could serve up the sweetest surprises, even when they were stuck in your hair. From that day on, Beatrice became known as the Taffy Apple Grandma in Maplewood, and her story of unwittingly carrying around a sticky treat in her wig became the stuff of legend. It was a tale that brought smiles and laughter to the town for years to come, proving that even the quirkiest mishaps could turn into the sweetest memories. Here's another story. Once upon a time in the bustling halls of Wilson High School, there was a teenage girl named Sophie who had a crush that could rival any romantic comedy. Her heart belonged to none other than Jake, the star of the track team. Jake was known for his athleticism, charm, and the dazzling smile that could make any girl's heart skip a beat. was a spirited and imaginative girl, known for her creativity and her penchant for wearing quirky accessories. She was convinced that the way to Jake's heart was through her own unique sense of style. So, one fateful day, she hatched a plan that she believed would make Jake notice her in the crowded hallways. With determination in her heart, Sophie visited a costume shop and emerged with a stylish, fiery red wig that flowed down her back like a cascading waterfall of flames. She believed it would make her stand out and catch Jake's eye during track practice. The next day, Sophie donned her new accessory and confidently strutted onto the track field, feeling like a runway model on a mission. She watched as Jake effortlessly sprinted past her, unaware of her existence. Sophie knew she had to make a statement. As practice started, Sophie tried to keep up with the other runners, her fiery wig swaying with each step. She couldn't help but feel a bit self-conscious, but she was determined to catch Jake's attention. The moment of truth arrived as Sophie sprinted down the track, her heart pounding with excitement. But just as she got within earshot of Jockey, disaster struck. A particularly strong gust of wind swept over the field, and with a whoosh, her fiery red wig flew off her head and landed with a dramatic flop on the track. Time seemed to stand still as everyone, including Jake, turned to look at the unexpected turn of events. Sophie's fiery wig lay on the track like a defeated fire-breathing dragon. The silence was broken by a burst of laughter from her teammates and the spectators. Sophie's face turned a deep shade of red that matched her wig. unable to contain his laughter, quickly picked up the wig and handed it back to Sophie with a grin. "You dropped this, fiery friend of mine," he said with a wink. Sophie took her wig, feeling a mix of embarrassment and amusement. She had indeed made an impression, albeit not exactly the one she had hoped for. But here's where the story takes an unexpected twist. Instead of running away from the embarrassment, Sophie decided to embrace it. She realized that her fiery wig, while it had its moments of awkwardness, had somehow brought her luck on the track. In the following races, she intentionally let her wig fall off, and to everyone's astonishment, she began winning race after race. Rumors spread that the girl with the falling wig was unstoppable, and the track team's success soared. Sophie became a local legend, and even Jake couldn't help but be impressed by her determination and newfound athletic prowess. In the end, Sophie never did capture Jakey's heart, but she discovered something even more valuable: her own self-confidence and a newfound passion for running. She continued to let her wig fall off with each race, and as the wins piled up, she realized that sometimes embracing your quirks and being unapologetically yourself can lead to the most unexpected victories in life. And so, the legend of Sophie, the girl with the falling wig, became a source of inspiration for generations to come at Wilson High School. Here is another story. Once upon a time, in the quaint suburban neighborhood of Woodville, there lived a young boy named Timmy, who was as quirky as they come. At the tender age of 7, Timmy developed an unusual obsession: wearing a cardboard box instead of clothes. It all began one sunny morning when Timmy's parents discovered him rummaging through the garage. His eyes sparkled with curiosity as he unearthed an old, oversized cardboard box. Without hesitation, he declared, "This is my new outfit." With parental amusement mixed with a dash of bewilderment, they allowed Timmy to indulge in his newfound fashion sense. Thinking it was just a phase. Little did they know, it was going to be a rather enduring phase. From that day forward, Timmy wore his cardboard box with unbridled enthusiasm. He cut out holes for his arms and head, and there he stood, a living, breathing box person. No amount of coaxing or reasoning could persuade him to wear actual clothes. The box had become his identity, his shield, his superhero cape. Timmy wore the box to school, where he earned the nickname Box Boy. He wore it to the park, where other kids stared in amazement and parents tried to hide their laughter. He even wore it in the pouring rain, causing the box to sag and drip. Yet Timmy remained unfazed. His box became a constant companion, and he proudly declared it was his armor against the world. didn't matter if it got wet, dirty, or crumpled. Timmy simply let it dry out, patched it up with duct tapey, and continued wearing the same box. His parents grew increasingly concerned about his obsession, but they decided to let him be, hoping he would eventually outgrow it. That was until one fateful day at the local park when disaster struck in the form of a mischievous little dog named Max. The pint-sized troublemaker of the neighborhood, spotted Timmy's box and couldn't resist the temptation. With a lightning-fast pounce, he grabbed hold of one of the box's edges and pulled with all his might. The cardboard yielded under Max's determination, tearing into little pieces as Timmy let out a surprised yelp. Suddenly, Timmy found himself standing in the park, his beloved box in tatters, and his bare bottom exposed for all to see. Max, proud of his victory, barked triumphantly and ran off with a piece of the box in his mouth. The park erupted in laughter, and Timmy's parents rushed over to their son's side. Amidst the chuckles and giggles, Timmy finally realized that perhaps it was time to retire the cardboard box fashion statement. With a sheepish grin, he picked up the remnants of his once beloved box and gave Max a pat on the head. From that day forward, Timmy traded his box for more conventional clothing. But his quirky fashion sense remained legendary in Woodville, a story told at family gatherings and neighborhood picnics, a testament to the time when Timmy the Box Boy brought laughter and unexpected excitement to their otherwise ordinary lives.
Yeah.
in the bustling halls of Oakwood High School, there was a teenage girl named Lily who had an unmistakable flair for fashion. Lily was known for her unique sense of style, and she had a particular fondness for shoes. Her latest obsession? A pair of jaw-dropping 10-inch heels that made her tower above her peers. These heels were unlike anything anyone had ever seen. They were adorned with glittering gems, and the color seemed to change with every step, making Lily the center of attention wherever she went. However, there was just one small, peculiar problem. These magnificent heels smelled like rotten eggs. Now, you might wonder how such beautiful shoes could have such a foul odor. Well, the mystery lay hidden within the heels themselves. Unbeknownst to Lily, someone had played a mischievous prank on her by placing bad eggs inside her prized footwear. That someone was her best friend, Sarah, who had been growing increasingly envious of the attention Lily received because of her unique fashion choices. For weeks, Lily paraded around the school in her amazing, albeit stinky, heels. Her classmates couldn't help but admire her dedication to her fashion statement, but they also couldn't ignore the overwhelming smell that followed her everywhere like a cloud of doom. cafeteria, a fellow student couldn't take it anymore. He discreetly approached her and whispered, "Lily, have you ever checked inside your heels?" Lily, puzzled, removed one of her shoes and gasped in horror as she discovered the rotten eggs hidden within. The cafeteria erupted in laughter as her secret was exposed. Lily's face turned as red as her beloved heels. She realized that someone had played a cruel trick on her, but she couldn't fathom who would stoop so low. That's when she noticed Sarah, who was trying to suppress a mischievous grin. The truth hit Lily like a ton of bricks. Confronted Sarah, her best friend, who finally confessed to the prank. Jealousy had driven her to play this devious trick on Lily in an attempt to steal some of the limelight. Lily was furious. She couldn't believe her best friend had betrayed her trust in such a hurtful way. In the heat of the moment, she gave Sarah a piece of her mind, a piece that involved a few choice words and a well-aimed pudding cup. The friendship between Lily and Sarah seemed irreparably shattered. Weeks passed, and the two girls barely spoke to each other. However, both began to miss the laughter, the shared secrets, and the countless inside jokes that had once made their friendship special. One day, as Lily was sitting alone in the school courtyard, she noticed Sarah sitting across from her, wearing a somber expression. Lily couldn't help but remember the countless fun times they'd shared. She realized that despite the rotten egg incident, their friendship meant more to her than holding on to a grudge. With a sigh, Lily walked over to Sarah and extended her hand in a gesture of reconciliation. Sarah's face lit up, and she accepted the hand of friendship. It was a simple, unspoken understanding that sometimes jealousy could lead to foolish actions, but true friendship was worth forgiving and forgetting. From that day forward, Lily and Sarah's friendship blossomed anew. They shared many more adventures and learned that their bond was stronger than any pair of heels, no matter how fancy or stinky they may be. And while they never did discover who had originally placed the rotten eggs in those fabulous shoes, they decided it didn't really matter, because their friendship had emerged from the prank even stronger than before. Here is another story. Once upon a time in the quiet town of Truthville, there lived a young teenage boy named Tommy. Tommy had a peculiar problem. He got pimples every time he told a lie. It wasn't just a small breakout either. These pimples were enormous, red, and impossible to ignore. Each lie was like a beacon of blemish on his otherwise clear complexion. At first, Tommy found this condition rather amusing. He would tell little fibs to see how fast a pimple would pop up. But as the lies grew bigger and more frequent, his face became a pimple minefield, and he knew he had to stop. seemed to be an irresistible habit he just couldn't kick. One day, Tommy's desperation reached its peak. He had just told a whopper to his parents about finishing his homework when, boom, a colossal pimple erupted on his nose, bigger than any he'd ever seen. It looked like a tomato had taken residence on his face. Tommy decided it was time for some soul-searching. He needed help. So, he did what any teenager in need of guidance would do. He talked to his little kitten, Mr. Whiskers. Tommy sat down with Mr. Whiskers and spilled his troubles. To his astonishment, the little kitten responded, not with meows, but with words. "Tommy, you've got to stop lying," Mr. Whiskers said in a tiny, high-pitched voice. Tommy rubbed his eyes in disbelief. "Did you just talk?" Mr. Whiskers nodded and continued, "Your lies are causing all those pimples, and it's not good for you." Tommy couldn't believe his ears, but he listened intently as Mr. Whiskers explained how each lie was damaging his relationships and his skin. Tommy that honesty was the way to clear both his conscience and his complexion. With newfound determination, Tommy made a promise to Mr. Whiskers that he would stop lying. The little kitten beamed with pride and gave him a tiny paw bump. Tommy's journey to truthfulness was far from easy. Temptations to lie were everywhere, at school, with his friends, and even at home. But each time he felt the urge to fib, he remembered the advice of his furry friend, Mr. Whiskers. Days turned into weeks and something remarkable began to happen. Tommy's skin started clearing up, the pimples began to fade away, and his complexion became smoother than ever before. His parents, friends, and teachers couldn't believe their eyes. They were amazed at the transformation. Tommy was finally free from the curse of the lying pimples, and to ensure he never strayed from the path of honesty, he carried Mr. Whiskers in his backpack as a constant reminder. The little kitten had become his trusted confidant and the guardian of his truthfulness. Tommy's story became famous in Truthville, not just for the pimple-turned-pimple-free miracle, but for the remarkable bond between a boy and his talking kitten. Tommy learned the value of honesty, and every time he looked at Mr. Whiskers, he was reminded that the truth would always be the best skincare routine in the world.